Hello, Teacups. It's the real JT, and today on this episode of Taking Care of My Plant Babies, I'm going to show you all how to properly trim and repot a dragon fruit plant. This is a baby that I have right now. I've only had her for about a year. She hasn't produced any fruit, but I was kind of neglectful. As you can see, I didn't know in the beginning that you need to do pruning and trimming quite frequently in order to get them to produce and be healthy. So I've read up on it and watched a couple videos. And so I want to show you all, in case you ever get curious or you would like to get a dragon fruit plant, I'm going to show you how to go about pruning and repotting your dragon fruit plant. In case you aren't familiar with the dragon fruit plant's natural habitat, they are native to Central and South America. And being native to Central and South America, they don't need a lot of water and they absolutely thrive in the sun and in the heat. I love dragon fruit plants because they are low maintenance. When I say that I was neglectful with this plant, that is an understatement. Like, I was completely green with how to take care of this plant, and it has thrived a full year and still producing new leaves, new foliage, and I absolutely am excited to see how it's going to do now that I know how to properly take care of this dragon fruit plant. And in this video, you see that I'm using succulent gardening tools. It's actually a thing. They do have tools specifically designed for smaller plants and cacti that make your life a whole lot easier when trying to trim, especially closer to the root. As you can see me getting in as close as possible to the base to give the new leaves some exposure and for them to be able to get better light to grow healthy and strong. I will put those tools in the description of this video so that you all can also purchase the tools or just see what they look like. And I did get stabbed a few times, so I would highly suggest using some very good thick gloves when trimming any cacti. I took it on the chin because it's kind of my fault that it kind of went crazy and is wild. But I want you guys to be better than me. So get you some gloves. I don't want you to be having a tedious time trying to pick those tiny spines out of your fingers from being poked for not using gloves. Dragon fruits can get up to 20 feet tall and they have the potential to live to be about 20 years old. So this little baby plant can get as big as somebody's house. Like, that's amazing to me as I'm like taking care of and giving this plant some maintenance and some love. While reading up on the dragon fruit plants, I thought it was amazing because I've only seen plants that had fruit that were pink and that were yellow, but they actually have more rare colors of fruit, which are the blue fruit and the green fruit. And I was like, wow. So now I'm definitely going to be looking to see if I can find those to try them out. So the main things you want to make sure is that you get as close to the base as possible with your sanitized tools. And now I have good airflow. Sunlight can get to the babies. And now it's time to repot this dragon fruit. I give all of my plants a good layer of mulch at the bottom just so they have good drainage. I don't want them to get root rot, especially the cacti and the plants that just don't need to be sitting in water. Before I take my plant out of the pot, I like to do a quick measurement to make sure that the new pot is big enough to accommodate the growth for my plant. In this soil, the combination is mulch, perlite, and some fertilizer to hopefully give this plant a little boost and assist in its new stage with growing bigger and hopefully being a lot healthier now that I know what to do with dealing with the plant. As you see, I am wearing some gloves now because I do have to take the plant out. I just flipped it over, and then what I'm going to do is use the pot that it was in as basically a mold to go around with the soil. And then I'm going to wet the soil so that it gets kind of stuck firmly in place, and I'll come back and you'll see me put that plant back in that spot that was made with the impression. Another interesting fact that I learned about the dragon fruit plant was that the flowers that they produce are edible if they're cooked, and they only bloom at night. And if you do eat a dragon fruit, just know that they could have a laxative effect, and you should never, ever, ever eat their skin. So here's the moment of truth. And there it goes. It went in just like a key. And it's going to give the dragon fruit so much more room to grow and expand and just be a lot more healthy and happier in this new pot. With this new maintenance I'm going to be providing this plant, hopefully it will produce some new fruit. It'll produce some flowers. Sometimes it can take years, especially for the dragon fruit that aren't in its natural habitat, which Kentucky isn't in its natural habitat. It may take a couple years, but I do look forward to seeing how big this plant grows. It'll be in my greenhouse, and you guys will be able to get updates on it as the summer goes. You guys can see the before and after pictures, and I will definitely keep you posted. I'm going to add some moist soil to the plant so that I can compact it and give it a little bit of water. I don't want to overwater it. A lot of plants go through shock initially when you repot them. So I'm not going to give it too much water. I'm just going to give it a little moist soil and let it do its thing. Put it out in the greenhouse and just keep an eye out on it over the next week or so. Every time I get a new plant, I try to give it a name, but I've had this plant for over a year and I hadn't come up with a name yet until after this video was shot. So its name is Marley. For obvious reasons to me, I feel like the stems of this plant look like locks. And so I was like, Bob Marley, Marley. So this dragon fruit's name is Marley, in case anybody was interested or anybody else out there names their plants. And the spray that you'll see me use on the mulch and on my plants is neem oil. It's 100% natural. I don't like to use a lot of pesticides, whether I'm using it on an edible plant or not. I use neem oil and it gives really great results. So overall, this took about an hour to repot and trim. It was really easy with my succulent tools and having the soil already ready. And of course, if you guys want to see any more tips with your plants, like, share, subscribe to The Real JT. See you, teacups.